Yep. Do you normally refer wraps, or do you refer, repaints?
Yeah, I think it's a value of a car and a type of customer.
Yeah, good point.
There's a lot of customers that are not going to be keen to do wraps. They're not wrap type of individuals, right? Another thing you could do with this is I would stick with the wrap, but again, you got to be a wrap guy. You got to, and look, it maybe need to be replaced every 2 to 3 years. So it could be a big expense. You're talking about, let's call it $3,000, $3,500 to have this wrapped properly. If you start to see $2,000 to wrap your car, you probably are not going to be thrilled with that wrap job usually. So there's a kind of a reality of what you want, what kind of car owner you are. That wrap's just not for everybody, but it'd be maybe a really great situation here.
Yeah, it's not for everybody, and there are people though that do a good job with it. And
Oh heck yeah, there's some really cool wraps. I mean, no doubt about it. I mean, I'm a big fan for the guys out there with the talent that do it really well. I mean, it could be a really cool situation. And I've seen some really cool cars. Like, I've seen some really bad Tesla Model Ys, and then I've seen some ones I'm like, wow, that wrap shop really knows what they're doing. Like, because they offset it. That's why I wanted to bring that up. Like, trust me, you're gonna wanna offset it. If you take a Tesla Model Y and you make it all pink, it's gonna look like bubble gum. But if you make it pink and then the handles pop out and they're black and some trim pieces are black, it does look pretty good. I'm excited to talk to this guy, because he really wants to learn.
He does.
And he's like, hey man, just analyze my car. And that's the best way if you're gonna either do this, go to a good high quality detailer in your area, or you're gonna start doing this yourself by just listening to our videos, watching our videos and seeing the things we point out. If you go to somebody, make sure you choose somebody high quality to the best of your ability. Make sure you're paying them for their time so they give you their best effort. And guess what? Listen to what they say.
But you mentioned something there, high quality. How does somebody look at a detail shop or a mobile detailer, and know that they're of high quality?
Well, you're going to have to go in and have your own questions, know what you're trying to get out of it, and see if somebody can really communicate. That's the number one red flag to me in service-based businesses that I hire for my house and my life. If somebody has a hard time answering well thought out questions that I have, and again, if they look at me and go, hey man, that's a bad question, I don't understand it, I'm cool with that. But then I want them to lead me, hey, what should I be asking? Well, let me tell you, this is kind of what we're seeing. They'll be very well spoken. More than likely. They're very knowledgeable on what they're knowledgeable about, right? So if you're gonna hire somebody to do a renovation on your house, they don't have a problem walking you through A to Z ever. Like, I've renovated houses I own. A great contractor, and you've done things at your house, you're just like, oh yeah, he gets it. And he just walks you through. Here's what it's gonna be, here's the timeline, and like clockwork, that's how it happens. And so the number one way is, can they communicate to you? Can they answer your questions? If they don't understand your questions and they say, hey, I don't really understand what you're asking, that doesn't mean they don't know. It means they're trying to get clarification on what exactly you want to know in your question. And so that would actually be a green flag to me if somebody said, hey, can you clarify that a little bit about what I can help you with? So that would be the number one way. The other way, be very careful with the flashiness on social media, okay? Most of the high-end mechanics, most of the high-end shops are not the most flashy on social media, okay? They don't need to be. And I'm not saying that's, a rule of thumb that you gotta live by or whatever. I'm just saying that's my take on it. Look for somebody that's taken some good pictures, of some projects. Who cares if it's not a ton of them? Maybe done some videos where they explain their process if that's the type of thing they're doing, but that doesn't even work half the time. You and I know some of the highest end shops, they do the least amount of posting. So social media is not a great gauge. Go to buddies that own really nice cars that you look at and you go, this car is awesome. It's in great shape. Nothing seems out of place.
Who do you know?
Who do I know?
No, that's what I mean. You go to that guy and you go, hey, who do you know? Because
Yep.
you're probably using somebody.
Yeah, and what they'll probably tell you is, hey, I used this guy for a while and he ran into a rough patch and he's not doing so well anymore. He'll probably give you 2 or 3 names he wouldn't use, and then he'll go and say, call these 2 to 3 people. If he only has one person to call and he only knows one business, be a little cautious and do your homework on that person. Because usually a guy will say, hey, there's a couple good tint guys I've used. Not 10, but I've used 2 really good guys in town, especially if a guy's 40, 45 years old, 50 years old. He's usually used 2 good tint guys, 2 good PPF guys, 2 good detailers, right? He hasn't just used one for 30 straight years. And if he has, good on him, and then maybe do call his person. But most of the time what happens is they got a couple good referrals. Call both of them, see which one fits you, right? And the other thing is, you have to know what you want out of your car. How much are you willing to spend? Okay, not on the consultation part, but have it in your mind. If this guy came to us and he goes, look, I set aside $5,000, I'm repainting. I'm going, hey dude, forget the wrap. You like the blue, love the blue, let's get it repainted. We'll sand it down for you and we'll make it right. Like, just get a good repaint and we'll do the finish work. So the question becomes, what is your budget? If you don't have that in your head in some way, now what we find in our business is a lot of people with their cars in the aftermarket undervalue what the dollar is going to be. When you start talking about really getting in and doing things to your car, you're in the thousands. You're not in the 200. 200 doesn't get you a lot. Get you a cleanup, right? Get you a vacuum and a couple, I mean, no argument. In this case, this guy cares about this car. If he came to me before buying a car and he said, I'm gonna buy one that's kind of beat up, what should I be thinking of budgeting after? I probably would have given him the $5,000 number. Wouldn't you?
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, it's a good target.
Wouldn't
yeah.
you say, now, by the way, you may spend 2, you may spend 6. I mean, I don't know the condition of the car.
And it could be where they're located, right? Here in Oklahoma, 5,000 gets you a lot more than up in New York.
Yeah, that's true, right.
Maybe more than it gets you over in Vegas.
Yeah, and California and all those kinds of things. But here's the cool thing, man. You have to know that this stuff costs. You know, going through and having a PDR guy do all this, it seems like it's going to be affordable. There's a lot of dents.
Yeah.
I mean, this could be $800-900, $1,000 gone. But you want a good PDR guy, because if you don't, then it's going to be worse trying to fix it. Now you're in a different situation. And so then you want to go to a good body guy. Then you want to, I mean, the stuff adds up to do the work right. And one of the things that we've learned in our career, cheap is never good. Right? Cheap is never good. It's never good work. Now, you can always do something cheap, but don't expect good work. And when we talk to this guy, that's exactly what we'll pass on to him, because he's a guy wanting to learn. And I'll say, I'd rather you save another 6 months to have the money than to do it cheap today. And so I would say that to anybody. And look, I know people that own really expensive car collections, millions of dollars, that have put repairs on hold because they just don't want to spend the money.
Yeah.
The money's not an issue to them, but like, I don't want to spend it right now. Right? And so it happens at the highest level.
Wow, it happens all
and so I want people to really take from this video, number one, us pointing to some damage. And now you guys hopefully can really see why we feel this way. And then also the Carfax talk and all those kinds of things is just general information for us to kind of, you know, shoot the shit, so to speak, as we clean up this vehicle and just give an assessment to an actual customer that we're going to be helping out.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you like cars, there's a button just for you. It's right down here. It's the like button. Go ahead and click like and subscribe. If you want to support American-made car care, hey, go to hypercleanstore.com. We'll see you on the next one.
All right, guys.